You are now listening to WSN Wolf Sports Network, live from the University of West Georgia in Carrollton, now an Odyssey station.
Live from Carrollton, Georgia, this is Sports Pack.
Home of the hottest takes.
In the city of dreams.
Three friends
Return to the plate to strike out the semester. And we have our signature lineup of segments returning with Triple Play and Snake Your Case.
and we all have three separate lists. So that leaves me with Acuna with the 40-70 season at number one.
What was I saying before about what was my tough pickle spot?
Quarterback? No, what was it?
Tight end.
Tight end. Dude, that's everybody's
Guess who's going first as my tight end? Brock Bowers.
I knew that was
Don't worry, we're bringing you the best interviews and what's going on this weekend in sports.
And so much more.
So grab a drink.
And some popcorn.
And get ready to enjoy the show.
This is Triple Threat.
Actually, I'm going to do some ad reads real quick. College students who binge drank alcohol at least 3 times per week were roughly 6 times more likely to perform poorly on a test or project as a result of drinking. That is why the Crafty Rabbit Meadery has joined Wolf Sports Network's and Wolf Radio's Drink Responsibly campaign to remind students drinking should be done responsibly and in an environment that discourages overindulging. Faculty won't take hangovers as excuses. Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to help reduce the 21% of adults with low literacy skills. We are collecting new and gently used books for every UWG pre-K student monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/bookdrive. That's wolfradio.com/bookdrive. And no, ladies and gentlemen, you got a little pump fake there. This is not Sports Pack. This is Triple Threat. It is a beautiful Friday morning here in the City of Dreams, Carrollton, Georgia. And it's time for Triple Threat. Fellas, we had a crazy day yesterday. It's an early morning for us college students. You know, it's 11 a.m., pretty early for us. How are we feeling on this beautiful morning?
I mean, I feel greater than my my pump fake there. We'll call it the pump fake of the century. I'm feeling great, a little tired, but we're here, we're live, and it feels good outside temperature-wise. We just need that sun to peek out now.
John is not starting out 22 with the board.
Dude, it's my rickety bones, the joints hurt, arthritis is already there. Like, I guess that's what made the mistake. Maybe a little, I don't think dementia yet.
Yeah,
just like my hint of dementia.
But no, definitely happy to be here. Falcons did great things today, and Triple Threat, we're going to do even greater things today.
It's a beautiful day for a show, and an even better day to talk about the West Georgia Wolves.
And your Wolves are on the run.
So, as always, it is a pretty busy week for UWG athletics. First and foremost, just congratulations to the men's golf team for finishing in the top 10 in the ASUN golf tournament. Great way to kind of start the tenure in the ASUN. I mean, it was an inaugural year. I'm just throwing out these big words that I never use, but first year in the ASUN. Great to kind of start top 10 in the conference. So, just want to give a little shout out there. But to head over to the baseball side of things, had a tough go against Georgia State on Tuesday. Jason, that is your alma mater. That is your associate degree land. How do you feel about how the Wolves performed against Georgia State on Tuesday?
I love that performance for the Wolves there. Even losing 4-0. First of all, this series with the Wolves and Georgia State could not have gone better for me this year. Had that thriller, one of the greatest games that possibly could have happened here at Coalfield earlier in the season, with the Wolves winning 12-11, and then the boys going on down to the ATL to take on those Panthers. Had them all the way 0-0, a dogfight, really, the entire way.
Battle.
with that, huh? Yeah, exactly. In Atlanta against a good Georgia State team. And to be able to go out there, throw up 4 runs in the 8th inning, Georgia State wins. I don't lose. So, great. I think overall, great game for the Wolves. The Wolves have fallen more and more in the ASUN, however. Less than 500 now. I think the overall record's like 17-21 now. So, definitely, and with a tough challenge coming up against Stetson.
Yeah, well, it's actually we're in Jacksonville, so that's the series we got this weekend, and like you said,
I'm at Jacksonville University. My bad.
Jacksonville is a very good baseball team. I mean, they've beaten multiple power opponents this season. They're looking like they could really make a run for the ASUN, and so if the Wolves want to get on track, they're going to have to bring more than just their A game because they're going to Jacksonville to face this team, and then you got Stetson, a really good Stetson team, the series after next week. So, like we were saying on Sports Pack yesterday, Lane doesn't pitch every day.
We can't clone Lane to be
He's going to give us a
pitchers.
chance in every single game that he pitches in. So we really got to look to the rest of the guys in the rotation, the rest of the bullpen. Like, we know the bats are going to be there, but we need this pitching to support them. So we really just got to hope that, hey, this rotation, this bullpen, they really do something this week.
Because they can be really good. Now, the one thing I noticed here from this Georgia State game is it was a bullpen day, but the bullpen's kind of getting better.
The bullpen days have not been bad.
Yeah, they're getting
we held Tennessee to 2 runs. We're going to talk about that in Carrollton for a very long time.
That's a historic thing. But, I mean, I know we had a couple of walks, but that's spread throughout the whole game.
That's baseball.
Yeah, I was about to say. But still, to have, I think the bullpen's getting better now. Would have helped us earlier on this year in the beginning for them to be better. Yeah, absolutely. But they didn't have the opportunities to. So, I mean, I'm not too mad with it. And like you mentioned, you said, Jason, I didn't exactly realize it was 0-0 until the very end.
Oh yeah.
And so, I mean, good job by the bullpen other than just giving up 4 runs.
And to your point, really quick, Steven, no, your name's not Steven.
My name is not
your
Steven.
Name.
It's an honor to be called Steven, though.
You look nothing like Mr. Steven. But, no, to your point with the bullpen, with Lane Pearson pitching, he had his worst go out against the Ospreys. Just last week. What was it? What was that last week? And gave up like 7 runs, definitely inflating that ERA. But the bullpen was able to come in there and back him up along with those bats.
Yeah.
The final score of that game was like 13-9. Definitely an offensive entourage. But we've seen the bullpen step up at times, and I think that's the thing that we've been saying is just some inconsistencies overall.
Right.
They pitched very well against teams like Tennessee and Georgia State, but other times it's really selling the starter.
Exactly, and it is good to note that we did win that game against North Florida. The bullpen came up clutch. The bats went nuts, obviously. That North Florida game was an amazing game. So definitely excited to see how...
the whole football team was there.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Right, until we started scoring runs.
Yeah, but very excited to see this series. It's actually on ESPN Plus, so anybody can watch it. Yeah, Jacksonville...
I didn't know that.
Jacksonville's hooking it up for us, so go watch that series. I mean, we got today at 7, tomorrow at 7, and then Sunday at 1. So if you're looking for some good baseball to watch, tune in to ESPN Plus and watch the Wolves. And in other news, we got to talk about the softball team as well because they are still playing softball. That's for sure. So this week they have doubleheader on Saturday against Florida Gulf Coast, and then this Sunday they play again against Florida Gulf Coast. So this has been an interesting year for our softball team.
Very.
To say the least, a lot more so what we expected. I think, in my opinion, this baseball team's doing a whole lot better than most people really expected them to. And this softball team is kind of doing what we expected, right? First year to D1, making that move. It makes a little more sense that this is where they're sitting at, 12-33, which is not a fun record by any means. But with that in mind, right, we look at all of West Georgia sports this season. We've had some surprises, some pretty cool highs, and some pretty low lows. As a university, as all of our athletic programs, as a department, how do you two feel about how we have performed in our first season at the Division I level?
Sure. So overall, I think that the Wolves have gone out there and kind of like shell-shocked a lot of these teams across sports. You've seen even in track, I think the Wolves are still doing the same type of stuff, having some really records being broken in the track and field game. That's not getting talked about much. Shout out to them for that.
Yeah,
You've already mentioned
this
the
is one
golf
of the better
team.
track teams we've had in school history, if not the best.
Right, and it's really not being talked about enough, especially not by Wolf Sports Network. Let's get our
We talking about track,
let's get our
brother.
act
We talking
together.
about track.
But anyways, the golf team has been impressive, as we've mentioned earlier here in this broadcast. The volleyball team started off hot. The women's basketball started off hot, and really kind of was the most consistent.
Yeah, they were a very
Yeah.
consistent
overall.
team.
Volleyball, if you can think back that far, they started off well before they went on like a 25, 30 game
it
losing
wasn't-
streak.
They started off hot. They did not finish well.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. So, football came out hot, guns a-blazing. So I think it's that shell shock factor that I've enjoyed. Overall, I think we exceeded expectations.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think we absolutely exceeded expectations. I mean, for football, first off, nobody expected us to win a single game last year, other than maybe Shorter, and at the time we didn't know who Lincoln University was before we put
I still don't know if Lincoln University knows who Lincoln University is.
I mean, I guess that president looks down at his hand and possibly sees it pixelating at this point. I mean, but still, I just love everything else. I mean, baseball, it shocked us because I remember we were saying there's no way we're going to have this amount of wins. And obviously they proved it to be a lot better. And then just softball and volleyball had this, they're the skids that's kind of, like you said, this is what you expect when you move up. But then all the other sports, they're doing, I would say, decent above the bar that we said. It's blowing us away and it's blowing the world away.
Yeah.
And I feel like for the future of the school and the program, I think it's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, I say you put the disappointment of our men's basketball team aside. I think that was the one.
Especially the year we
that
had
was
prior.
One, yeah,
Mhm.
especially with the year we had prior. Put that disappointment aside. I'm very happy with how the Wolves
yeah.
have performed this year, this calendar year, whatever you
I mean,
call
it's
it.
just awesome to be a Division I school. as
It
well.
is. It's really fun to be. I mean, we are one, fellas. But it's been great to see these athletic programs, especially. I mean, kicking it off, game 1 against Samford.
Flea flicker.
We're gonna talk about that for a long time. I mean, that game.
Absolutely. I think
that
that's gonna.
game was so awesome.
I think that play is gonna go down as
That
one
flea
of the
flicker.
top 10 plays in West Georgia history when it comes down to it. I also want to make mention, since we talked about Georgia State, between the baseball and softball teams, the Wolves are 2-2, have won 2 of those 3 games. Oh,
Hey.
so do we own
Little
Georgia
brother?
State?
Little bro, I
Little
like.
bro
I mean, I
over
said
there
it.
in
I said it
Atlanta.
last week when Carter was on you. That's a little bro right there. We own them. So
Little bro over in Atlanta. We need a new D1 rival. I think we might have found it. But that's all the time we got to talk about for West Georgia. Let's jump into triple play.
It's time.
For triple play. There's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. A triple play.
So, Jason, I'm going to kick it to you. Why don't you let us know what our topic for triple play is and who we're talking about?
Yeah, so this little old thing happened yesterday.
Little thing.
Called the NFL
That was
draft.
not it.
I know, dude. Look, it's
Sorry.
been a rough morning.
John just tried to do the draft. sound,
Terry
and it was awful.
Francona was basically Chef Boyardee. But today, our triple... What?
To who?
Oh my goodness. Nobody's there. Fondo did pretty good.
Yeah, but I was saying.
Fontanino, he did great.
Anyways, our triple play for today. Hey, listen, I actually stayed for that whole entire show, so I don't want to hear y'all over there laughing behind me. Anyway,
So
what's the
funny.
dig
Hey.
here, man?
That is so funny.
Our triple play today is going to be the best draft steals of all time, one of which includes a first rounder in Lamar Jackson. We got Jason Kelsey with a 191st overall pick, and one of the quarterbacks of all time in Tom Brady at 199.
Yeah.
Look,
Take it away, John. Just take it away.
Look, Chef Boyardee, Fontenot over here. I mean, simple as this. All right, going on the list. It's obviously you got 2 quarterbacks and you got arguably one of the greatest centers of all time. Yeah, crazy to say, but I love him. But I'm number 3 here. I mean, it hurts me to put Jason Kelsey at 3, but do I really want to do that now?
Whatever will he do?
Whatever will I do? You know what? We're going to go ahead and put Lamar at 3. We'll put Jason at 2, and then we'll put, of course, the GOAT, Tom Brady, at number 1.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you look at this list, and obviously, I'd say the Patriots did a really good job at drafting the greatest quarterback of all time in the 6th round. I mean, whoever did that, Fontenot could never.
He was not alive.
Listen, Terry Fontenot, okay? I wrote in my wrongs. Terry, dadgummit. Get off
Terry
my...
Dadgummit, that's his name in my mind. But great job, picking the greatest quarterback of all time.
Chef Boyardee.
Chef Boyardee. All the way in the 6th round, so I think Tom Brady is the clear favorite, clear number 1 here. But then you get to 2 and 3, and it gets a little dicey, in my opinion. I was thinking, I was on the fence, right? And I thought John was going to put Lamar 2 and Kelsey 3, but he did the opposite. So because of that, because I was very 50-50, I'll flip those 2. Okay. I'll go Brady, Lamar, and Kelsey. Now, I know Lamar was a first-round quarterback, and I think that can hurt him when it comes to talking about steals.
I just also think it's there. Even though one is just now retired, one's still playing. Right. It is still, no matter what, 2 or 3 any day. You can toss them up like a burger patty.
It's very interchangeable, and I think you look at Lamar was drafted in the first round. How in the world is he a steal? Take a gander at the quarterback.
I'll pull the draft class up while Jason gives his list.
All right, so hold on. The quarterbacks taken ahead of Lamar were Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, and Josh Rosen. The only one of those quarterbacks who I would say is like crazy is obviously Josh Rosen. Okay, Baker Mayfield is a great quarterback, a quarterback that should have stuck with the Browns. The Browns should have trusted in him, kept him around. He was not the problem. Josh Allen, who is better than Lamar. And then you got, in my opinion, that's debatable. That's debatable. And then it's debatable. And then Sam Darnold, who we've seen this year really come into his own, great quarterback in his own right. I believe in a guy who's going to continue to excel. He's going to be my number 3 just because he is a first-round guy. Good job for the Ravens, who also, I feel, getting Malachi Starks yesterday. Oh my goodness.
Golden.
Great for them being able to get these low pick steals. But I mean, good for them. But unfortunately, that's gonna be 3. We're gonna go Mr. Kelsey, and I unfortunately it does have to be a lock with Tommy Tom there with the 199th pick, being the greatest quarterback of all time, picking in the draft.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at this pick, and I know that you were giving a little bit of props to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold's not even close to the same caliber of player.
He had a resurgence.
I don't think Sam Darnold will ever touch the caliber of player that Lamar Jackson is. And having him picked at 2, 3, wherever, 4, Darnold was picked top 5, I believe.
Darnold pick was 3rd overall.
Yeah, I'm sure if you ask the Jets, I'm sure if you ask almost every single one of these teams except the Bills, would you rather Lamar Jackson? The Browns would say yes. If they knew the career that he was going to have, 100% yes. Now, Josh Allen's a great quarterback, but I think putting Sam Darnold for one good year saying, Josh Rosen's the only one that you could say they would have rathered over him. I just don't think that's true. I think 100% Josh Allen's the only one that I would rather take.
I never said, the words that I said were not that these teams would have rather have taken the guy that they got. I'm just saying that the players that they did get are not bad. Now, of course, Josh Rosen. Of course, Sam Darnold is not the guy that he is today that he was with the Jets, and that's not necessarily his fault. You can say the same thing about Baker Mayfield. These are great quarterbacks. At the end of the day, when you go back and look at their careers, they're going to be a lot closer than to say that this gap of having Lamar at 32 was that insane. It's insane, right?
I think it's wild.
But it's not. Wild. That's a loaded draft class for quarterback. I'm not gonna lie.
Fellas, I want to pop over the comments real quick. I got JT agreeing with me our boy JT with Brady, Kelsey, Lamar,
Hey,
and then Brandon
what a
putting
guy.
Kelsey at one for
we need
the
to we need to
boys.
shed a little more light to Kelsey, because Kelsey means, one, he was one of, if not the best center of
Yeah,
all time.
absolutely.
I mean,
I
absolute
agree.
dog in the trenches.
2-time Super Bowl champion.
And two, what he meant to that city, right?
Is he a 2-time Super Bowl champion or is he one?
He's a one-time Super Bowl
That's
champion.
okay,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah, no, he only won one Super Bowl. But we got one of the greatest parade speeches, one of the greatest outfits ever from that man. I still don't know what he was wearing, but, dude, I mess with that junk. But he means so much to the city, to the organization, and to everybody he played for. He was the definition of a glue guy, right? You think about Philadelphia football, you can't really not think about Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
I don't know many other teams where a center's jersey is going to be one of, if not the top-selling jersey for them.
I'm about to say. And then also, like, for the way he just changed the game as a center. I mean, when Jalen Hurts took over the reins in Philadelphia, the one thing I remember there, like, everyone was asking Jalen, like, Jalen, why do you squat so low when you're getting ready to take a
Jason
shotgun
Kelsey's-
snap? And he said, Jason snaps the ball so dang fast. If I don't get that low, I'm going to lose the ball every time.
Right, dude.
Like, he helped set a standard and raise the bar for us. Of course, centers are important, but, like, just the love around him and just the fact that, like, the offensive line purely ran off Jason Kelsey, and Jason Kelsey had a super long record of, like, consecutive games started.
Right.
He was injured for one of the games, yet he still went in and took a snap. Like, his credentials, I guess, or his span of history in the NFL is great. And I mean, it's safe to say that I think he's the greatest center of all time. Not that there's plenty of other great centers out there that I do not know off the top of my head, obviously.
Right.
But I think he's the greatest of all time.
Yeah, I
as a
mean,
center.
really quick, I mean, if you really want to see something that just shows the kind of guy that Jason Kelsey is, watch his documentary on Amazon Prime. You get a really good look at kind of just a behind the scenes of the life of Jason Kelsey, as he's, like, he wasn't young, obviously, when he retired, but seeing the toll that being an NFL center and being a good one takes on your body, and how he was able to handle that. It's a really good documentary.
Now he's
Yeah.
lost a lot of
And-
weight since.
Yeah.
And,
most
good for
linemen.
him, like, knowing where that line was, drawing that line, not having an injured season. The dude was consistent. Like, you look at his page, he played 16 games, 16 games, 16 games, 16 games, 17 games, 17 games when it got expanded and everything.
Yeah.
And he might go down in history because there's this one play that's just torching the NFL.
Tush
And
push.
it's called the tush push. And he is obviously one of the keyest contributors to that play. So what a great career. What a
Right.
great guy. Should not be overshadowed in this list, as I do think at least, if not the greatest center of all time, the most consistent one of all time.
Yeah, I mean, just to leave it on, one of his lines of why he retired was, he said his body was taking such a toll, it hurt to pick his kids up, and that's why he wanted to retire. And I think that's one heck of a guy, one heck of a quote. We'll be back in a couple of minutes, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you for Snake Your Case.
It's time.
To keep listening to Triple Threat on Wolf Sports Network.
Sports fans, are you looking for a show where you can see other sports fans sharing in your misery and excitement? Then Sports Out of Pocket is for you, because we're fans too, and we experience our highs.
Bertigine is not a safety. He's just a corner who will lock down your number one.
And our lows.
Trayshawn Ward. Screw you, buddy. You were on our team last year, and you gave us no mercy, okay?
So join us every Wednesday at 5 to cheer and boo along with us, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Sports Network is content heaven for a sports fan, but their show Sports Pack is my personal favorite. Sports Pack airs on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network, filled with fresh personalities, funny moments, and piping hot takes, along with call-ins that allow listeners to get in on the action. Check out Sports Pack every Monday and Thursday from 6 to 7, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Hello.
Hey there, sir. Have you heard the news?
What news?
Sports Pack is back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The start of a new semester means that Sports Pack is back on Mondays and Thursdays from 6 to 7 here on Wolf Sports Network.
On Sports Out of Pocket, we have a brand new segment called The Lottery, where we talk about the players that we're high on and low on. Like how we're high on Halliburton turning around this Pacers franchise, and how we're low on Bryce Young for sucking it up with the Panthers.
Whoa. Come on now. That wasn't his fault.
Okay, fair enough. But still, listen to The Lottery on Sports Out of Pocket for more opinions on young players in the league. Sports Out of Pocket every Wednesdays at 5, only on Wolf Sports Network.
Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network are proud to boost literacy rates with our pre-K book drive. Our ongoing book drive will provide a new or gently used book to every child at UWG's pre-K monthly. Give today by visiting wolfradio.com/book drive. Together, Wolf Radio and Wolf Sports Network will make a brighter future. Visit wolfradio.com/book drive. Now, Jason, I noticed you are wearing one heck of a little jersey right there. It looks good, but let me tell you something.
Matty Ice.
Let me tell you something that would look even better than a Matty Ice jersey. And in my opinion, the Falcons should have never left those jerseys.
Oh, they're beautiful.
In my opinion.
They are beautiful.
You need to go.
Where does he need to go?
To wolfsportsnetwork.com.
Ow!
Ooh. Click about.
WSN.
And look at our merch store. Go get some hoodies. Go get some shirts. I'm sure you could go on our Instagram page, DM us, and you might be able to get yourself a Wolf Sports Network jersey if you tried.
Hey, look, it's possible.
It is possible.
It's possible, you know. And,
you could even say probable.
Oh, it's beautiful, Jim.
Oh, Jim.
So beautiful. Oh, you should go do it right now.
So with that said, go to wolfsportsnetwork.com, click the About page, and go look at our merch store and get something, please. It's time. To snake your case. Now, John, I'm going to mix up our order for the whole semester. I'm going to kick it to you. What is our topic for Snake Your Case?
Well, obviously, as that horrible draft tone was made by me earlier, we're keeping it with the draft. There we go.
We harmonized on that.
There we go. Anyways, it is... We're going to do basically undrafted free agents, like from... Is it all sports, if I remember?
Best undrafted players from sports history.
Sports history, okay. Yes, and... Are we? That's what it is. It is best undrafted sports player in history, as we just said right there. Little brain fart. Sorry, I'm not firing on all cylinders today. But the question is how many are we drafting today?
Always four.
Yes. All right, going with the four.
Always
the four-ski.
The four.
So.
All right. So if I remember correctly, I'm picking.
Who won?
We didn't put.
See, we didn't put one last week. We had one the previous week. Where Brady came in first, but we rolled. Jason came in second. So
is this John's allowed to pick?
Is this some Barker antics?
I say we give John the pick here. I say we just keep putting John. Yeah, John, who's picking?
What's the picking? Order? You know what?
We're not gonna give this guy some reward for what happened 3 weeks ago. No way.
Look, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast.
No.
Well, hater is gonna hate.
Well, anyways, right. Here's what we'll do. We'll go you first, Schrader. Me second. Jason third.
Okay.
So like, why'd you gotta make me go first? That means I
gotta
come up with
an answer. One time you did to me, so you go first. I go.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go quarterback. I'm gonna go to the NFL.
There's a few of them.
And I'm going to go with a guy that was bagging groceries not too long before he was playing in the NFL.
You stinker.
I brought this guy up earlier in the season.
I'm going to go with Kurt Warner. One heck of a quarterback. He was a grocery store clerk, won the Super Bowl, 2-time MVP. I mean, that's a story that Hollywood couldn't even make.
They have.
He made it first.
He got me. Well, you know what? I like that right there. I mean, like you said, he was bagging groceries, and
that's just crazy, too.
Yeah. But I want to be a little electric here, and I'm still keeping it in the world of the NFL, but a little electric over on the Chargers.
Ooh, I know who you're
Mr. Antonio Gates, baby.
That's one heck of a
what a stud. And look, we know how important tight ends are. Heck, it's in our intro. So, Antonio Gates, welcome to the squad, baby. Mr. Barker, what do we got here?
All right, so I get 2 picks here. I do indeed. And, I don't know who I'm going to be going with. I think, keeping consistent with, who I am and what I do, I'm going to go with the MLB guy with this first pick. And I think I'm going to go with one of the best undrafted NFL players of all time, a Hall of Famer, and Mike Piazza. You want to talk about catchers, one of the greatest catchers of all time. I'm sure Brandon somewhere out there smiling from ear to ear because he grew up watching him on his couch somewhere someday. And then there's a couple more NFL quarterbacks. And, I think I'm going to go with the better of the two. I'm going to go with Warren Moon. The undrafted quarterback there with my second pick.
Okay. I like that Warren Moon.
The Hall of Famer. I just bagged a couple Hall of Famers. Don't worry about it.
Okay, fair enough. But here's the one thing that happens a lot is like the scenario within the NFL. I'm keeping it there. First off, is special teams, right? A lot of special teams. Lots of special teams do not get drafted now. There's a ton of players here. But the one thing that I saw, I don't know if we got it on the camera, but I jumped up when I got it. But it's a kicker, none other than Adam Vinatieri.
That's an
absolute stud of a kicker. And I know there's so many kickers out there. I know we were talking about it this morning. And I'm not going to say the name because I may or may not have forgot it just in case if I say it and someone takes it. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it, but still, there's a lot of great special teams, special players, special plays.
All right, so I got 2 picks here.
Yes, sir.
And I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball. I'm going football again. The NFL draft's fresh on my mind. I'm going to go with, first off, James Harrison from the Pittsburgh Steelers, one of the better defensive linemen we've had in a long time. He's Defensive Player of the Year, Super Bowl champ, had one of the best pick sixes that we have ever seen in the Super Bowl, maybe even one of the better pick sixes we have ever seen. And then with my third pick, I'm going to go on the defensive side of the ball here, and I'm going to go with a Hall of Famer. I'm going John Randall from Minnesota.
Oh,
so John Randall and James Harrison are going to be my 2 and 3.
Dang, you got me there. Dang, I might be the one to be in a pickle. Man, that I really like those. That I'm not gonna lie, those are awesome right there. But you know what? I might.
Who's your third spot, John?
I might be a little biased to the NFL right now, and you know what? We're gonna go a little bit newer, but we're also gonna go with the man who led the Dallas Cowboys. And Mr. Tony Romo.
That was the quarterback that I was talking about earlier, where I was going to pick either Romo or Moon. I was thinking maybe he was going to come back around to me and I would end up picking him. Unfortunately.
I knew John wanted Romo.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Romo guy,
You like his broadcasting?
Actually, I do. I am a fan of his broadcasting.
I don't get the Romo hate. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a big fan of Romo.
Yeah, I'm about to say I like Romo.
So I'm gonna be rounding out my list here. So I'm going to be surprised, and I think I'm gonna surprise all the viewers out there. We have one NHL guy sitting on this desk. And, I'm like, okay, all sports, let's think about this. Who went undrafted, meaning they did not get drafted in their league, whatever, in their draft. And there is one guy, one of the greatest of all times, who never went drafted in the NHL. And he is a little-known guy by the name of Wayne Gretzky.
Wayne Gretzky. See, that's a good
a poll, brother.
He never got drafted in the NHL draft.
Yeah, he just signed. Yeah, that's a good pick.
Okay, I thought you had something to say there. I cannot believe he fell that far considering the man sitting at this table.
I was thinking more of guys that, were eligible for the draft and didn't get drafted, which I guess you could say he was. But, I mean, he's more like there's so many MLB players that you can just go out there and say, oh, technically they weren't drafted. But, that's a good pick. I'll give it to you 100%. Um,
And then me.
All right, whoa. I
Oh,
get
my
to
bad.
round out.
Sorry.
And so, I wanted a little bit of diversity. I'm a diversity kind of guy. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna go with another pro league. And hey, I'm not the biggest basketball guy either. But in doing my research, I found a 5-time defensive player of the year.
Yeah, you just took my last pick.
Defensive player of the year in Ben Wallace of the NBA.
Did we all just possibly about to have Ben Wallace?
I was about to go for
I had Ben Wallace as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
hot
I'm
Toledo
not trying to
muffins.
shake up anybody's draft boards or anything like that.
No, you shook it up. All right, I'm gonna say that.
Shake me up. Shake me up.
Wow.
Shake it off, John.
Okay. Shake it off, man.
Shake it for me.
Dude, why?
Hey.
You know what? Okay. I guess I just will go with this guy. Dude, what in the Toledo?
You just flabbergasted this man.
Oh,
Dude,
poor,
what in the Toledo, man?
Poor Johnny boy. I'm sorry. You should have left me. You should have let me keep Romo. I would have picked Romo.
I mean, I didn't really expect us to go with.
John's in shambles over here.
I so in shambles right now. Goodness gravy, hot Toledo muffins.
That is crazy.
Yeah,
So,
that's how
You're
you
letting
know.
this come to this?
Why we wait for him to decide? Schrader, who's been your favorite pick so far?
My favorite pick so far, I really like Gretzky. I like that direction that you took, which is why I'm going to take that direction for my next pick. But I don't know. I like the story of Kurt Warner. Just the fact that bro was actually bagging groceries. It's kind of crazy.
All right, we got one. We got one finally. Finally. Give me Moses Malone.
Moses.
Oh, okay.
Malone.
Yeah,
Moses Malone.
Hall of Famer, 3-time
Yeah.
MVP, 12-time All-Star, 8-time All-NBA, 6-time rebounding leader, and 1 Finals MVP and an NBA championship with the 76ers in '83.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's
he's got the accolades. I look, the Toledo muffins have been recovered. I know Toledo muffins do not exist, but they're recovered. Okay.
Toledo muffins, am I right? So for my last pick,
Is
I
that
guess
your last pick, John?
that was John's last pick,
Ah.
Moses Malone. So I'm going to kind of go the way that Jason went. Guys that were signed rather than drafted. And I'm going to go to the MLB for this. And I'm going to go not too long ago because, I could go to the 40s before the MLB draft existed. Or not the 40s, but before the MLB draft existed. I could have picked Hank Aaron. You could go pick guys like that, but I'm not going to do that. The draft is still here, but I'm going to go with a guy that was, you need this guy to get a base knock for you. He's going to do it. Give me Ichiro Suzuki from Japan.
Ichiro. Bro. Why would you not pick? Why would you not do Shohei Ohtani then?
I could have, but I'm going to go
Oh
Ichiro.
my gosh, that's pretty goated. I'm
going to go Ichiro.
That's
I wanted to go more historically.
That's a pretty good go around right there. Yeah, all of those guys. Wow. Yeah, that's sick. Yes. Wow, good pick. Good pick.
3,000 hits, baby.
I was unexpected.
Marlins legend. Never
Yeah.
played for the Mariners.
There you go.
Only ever played for the Marlins.
Yeah. Well, he got that 3,000th hit with
As
the
a
Marlins.
Marlin.
So, hey, if he never was on the Marlins, he would have never got 3,000 hits.
Amen. It always goes back to the Marlins. So to round out the list, I'll read them out. Jason goes Mike Piazza first, Warren Moon, Wayne Gretzky, and Ben Wallace. That's going to be a very difficult list to top.
Yeah.
I had Kurt Warner, John Randall, James Harrison, and Ichiro Suzuki. And then John rounding it out in third with Antonio Gates, Adam Vinatieri, whose last name I spelled terribly wrong, Tony Romo, and Moses Malone. Those are some pretty good lists.
So there's a little bit of debate here by Moses Malone doing my research. I'm just asking, and Google. I said, was Moses Malone undrafted? And it says no. Moses Malone was not undrafted.
That's
into
what my
the
list
NBA.
gave me.
He was drafted by the Utah Jazz in the pre-merger draft for ABA player of undergraduate age. So
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
I'm about to say.
But apparently there's something about it. Anyways, is
We'll
there
give it to
any really quick honorable mentions?
Wes Welker,
Wes Welker.
Matt Prater.
I mean, you can go special teams a lot. I mean, there's some pretty dominant kickers
and then going
there.
that way that we did with the MLB, obviously Shohei Ohtani and etc.
Exactly. So that's all the time that we have for Snake Your Case. Don't go anywhere, though. We'll be back in a few minutes for This Weekend in Sports.
You are listening to Triple Threat here on Wolf Sports Network.
It's time to introduce Wolf Sports Network's newest show, The Playbook. Your home for college football, baseball, and basketball. And just like VCU in 2011, we're set to make a Cinderella run to the top of a Wolf Sports Network.
The Rams are going to the Final Four!
Tune in live every Tuesday from 6 to 7 on Wolf Sports Network.
Over the horizon, a new show rises over Wolf Sports Network. To bring light to all things college sports. The Playbook, 6 to 7 p.m. every Tuesday on Wolf Sports Network. The Wolves play here.
Let me tell you all about this new show that's going to be on Wolf Sports Network. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. Get with the playbook. It's the playbook. Hear us talk about all college basketball, football, and baseball. Every Tuesday at 6. The Playbook, only on Wolf Sports Network. Man, this beat brings back memories.
Wolf Sports Network is going to have you covered with content for every day of the week, Monday through Friday. Sports Pack is bringing you all the news in the sports world today on Mondays and Thursdays at 6. Sports Out of Pocket is bringing you sports commentary with a comedic twist on Wednesdays at 5. And sit back and relax and grab your favorite snack because Triple Threat is bringing you the chill content on Fridays at 11. And the Playbook is going to be bringing you all of the sports news going on in the college world on Tuesdays at 6. So make sure you're tuning in Monday through Friday for all the content Wolf Sports Network is bringing you this semester.
This Weekend in Sports.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is one crazy weekend in sports. So really quick, we're gonna talk about the draft if we're being honest. We're gonna talk about the draft for just about all of this. But really quickly, just wanted to shout out the NHL and NBA playoffs have not disappointed at all so far. I mean, we have some great series in the NBA, some even better series in the NHL. It's been really fun to watch. So if you're not doing anything at night, watch sports, watch hockey, watch basketball. Just needed to get that out of the way because we couldn't just not talk about playoffs that are going on. But what we need to talk about is this NFL draft. What happened last night, the first round? It was crazy, and we have to. I mean, you look at Jason. I think you might understand which team is favored. Is Triple Threat's favorite team. So I want to get y'all's opinion. How do you feel about what the Falcons did in the first round of the draft? Because I mean, best case scenario and some.
Absolutely. I think we came in with the best case scenario, and that exceeded, I can't even believe that happened. I'm dumbfounded. I am dumbfounded.
Yeah.
And then trading up at the end to really solidify, really punch that ticket, say, hey, Falcons fans, I know that y'all were upset. Even though that pick did end up coming to turn around, we're getting you not one edge rusher, but we're going to come out there and we're going to get you two. We're going to double dip on you, and we are going to be... We're gonna make y'all happy tonight.
I'll say. I was not here in the studio in the war room, but when I saw the Falcons traded back in, I go, oh my gosh! I'm like, who are we getting? And I thought it was gonna end up being Will Johnson. I love the Jalen Walker pick. It ain't hard. Georgia fan. Yeah. It was most beautiful case scenario.
I didn't think he was gonna be there.
I didn't think so either. I thought he was going top 10. The next thing was guaranteed. I said top 15 guaranteed. But to have you have a linebacker that can play edge. You can roll him down into edge and Jalen Walker, but then you also have a solid edge and James Pierce Jr. Bring him on down to Atlanta. He had some fun in Tennessee, but I think it's awesome. It's going to be a ton of fun. But there's There's a couple other questionable picks on here that I've seen that we'll probably talk about here in a little bit, but still, I'm happy as a Falcons fan.
Going really quick back to like James Pierce Jr. Everybody just worried. You know, the thing that people worry about with him is his size. The Falcons need that speed to be able to get around, get to the quarterback. He had 6.5 sacks last.
His size?
That's
is
not
his problem?
That's not what people are worried about.
He's 6'5", 245, man.
There's no one worried about that.
No one's worried about that.
Pierce, yeah. What people are worried about is his character.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true.
That's the big thing. That's the reason. Like he
That's
is
true.
talent-wise, he's a top 10 player in the draft. But his character's been the big thing that people are like, whoa.
I did see that his mom said he was working on it. So
we know. hey, once Mama knows, we know.
Mama knows all. Mama's never wrong. But the Falcons were almost dead last in sacks last season. Definitely going and getting that fixed up in this draft. I'm very appreciative. It's a great draft.
Yeah, I think
first round.
I think it was a really good first round. I was actually kind of like John. I was on a run when they traded for Pierce, so I didn't even know it happened until I finished my run and looked at my phone and saw all that stuff. The one thing that I'm almost a little worried about is if we gave up too much for James Pierce.
I don't think so.
If James Pierce does not work out, we gave up next year's first-round pick.
We did, yeah.
Which could, like, in my mind, there's two ways I see it. One, this is going to be great. We won't even need that pick because we got James Pierce and Jalen Walker playing defense for us. And potentially we could go get Jalen Ramsey, which means our defense would be absolutely insane. But then you look at it the other way. Say we finish with the same record that we've had for what feels like an eternity.
Don't say that.
And Fontenot gets fired. This could have just been Fontenot saying.
What's his name?
Fontenot.
Yeah, Fontenot.
That is his name.
Fontenot, Chef Boyardee.
Yeah.
I was playing a bit.
But if he gets fired, right, that could just be him being like, well, now this new guy, he ain't got a first-round pick to work with. So,
ooh, I didn't even think about it like that.
I look at this and
I
like the pick. I like James Pierce. But at the same time, I don't know if I would have given up next year's first-round pick for him.
I don't know. The Rams are an interesting one to
Dude, the
deal with
Rams.
because think about it. When they traded to get Jared Goff, I mean, think about how much they spent to get that. They spent years on years on years,
right,
first-round picks, and they got rid of so many.
They got rid of so much draft capital, and it worked because they won the Super Bowl doing that.
Absolutely.
And now they got the other thing going where they're building a contender with draft picks. Jared Verse, Braden Fisk on the defensive side of the ball. Who knows what they're going to get today? I mean, they've done a really good job at drafting and not drafting. It's a very smart front office.
And there is a lot of good players still left
There are
on the
a lot.
board
Oh my
today.
gosh.
You got Will Johnson out there. You got Eli Green, who did not get drafted. Those character issues, which surprises me.
Who? Eli Green?
Oh my gosh,
Mike
Michael Green.
Mike.
I've been doing.
Bro just went government name.
Yeah, because
It was a long day. We'll give it to you.
I've been watching the
yeah.
Braves. I watched Eli White. He had a 3-run home run the other day.
To take down the Cardinals, baby.
To take down the Cardinals, yeah, take that, Jackson Bulls. But yes,
but I mean, you know, those are some big names that did not go that did not get picked yesterday. But I do not think there is a name bigger than Shedeur Sanders, and I guess it just wasn't perfect timing last night for him at the NFL draft. I mean, what do y'all feel about Shedeur getting passed on by 31 NFL teams in the draft last night?
I mean, it was a little surprising because later on we knew that no quarterback was getting taken, but when the Giants traded back in, I said, "Oh, they have to be going Shedeur here. It's gonna be the fit. Like there's no way they go Shedeur." I said the next thing they'll do is go Jackson Dart, but I do not see it. Well, they took Jackson Dart. And obviously, the other team that we expected in the Steelers, I mean, they took Derek Cameron from Oregon, and it's just every other team after that they don't need a quarterback.
Well, I thought that if he didn't go 9 overall to the Saints, I thought he was going to go 20 to the Steelers. Obviously, both of those teams picking a different direction and then getting traded up and getting Dart, which there were people saying,
I like
hey,
Dart.
I
really like
Dart. I was about to say, this is not a knock on Dart. There was plenty of people saying, I think Dart should be picked over Shedeur.
Yeah, I mean, you look at, in my mind, you look at Dart, right? Look what he did to SEC defenses week in, week out. Like I mean, that man.
The Arkansas game he had where
the Georgia game. He was injured.
And then he
gosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's an outstanding quarterback, and I think if you he sits under Russell Wilson, Russell Wilson mentors this guy for a year or two, he's going to be a great quarterback in the NFL. But I was surprised that the Steelers didn't pick Shedeur. It was surprising that Shedeur didn't go before Dart, because in my mind, like, I don't know if I just, don't pay attention enough. I'm thinking like a month ago, wasn't Shedeur like a top 3 pick?
Consensus top
like
3.
What happened?
I look, I have no clue what happened at this point, but he's going to go second round. And
if he doesn't go second round, then we're not being told something pretty big.
Oh yeah, there's
career's
something going
cooked.
on.
Now here's the thing. I know we're talking about like surprises. Here's the one pick that surprised me the most: the Chicago Bears going Colston Loveland at 10 when you could have taken Tyler Warren. I do not understand the decision behind Colston Loveland. Look, he's a great tight end.
But he is not Warren.
He's not Tyler Warren. I don't believe it.
I mean, this was for the Colts. This was amazing. I think Tyler Warren is one of the best tight ends we have seen in a long time on the college level. And Loveland is a very, I don't want to put any knock on Loveland. Colston Loveland is an outstanding tight end. Mm-hmm. I was very surprised that the Bears did not go Warren. I thought you would have flipped those two.
Yep. I thought this would have been Colston Loveland.
Yeah, so that was surprising. Colts. A random pick that I found to be really interesting was Emeka Egbuka going to the
Emeka Egbuka?
Yeah.
That's really good.
That was a really good pick. I just wanted to shout that out. I just saw that. I wasn't paying attention to the last half of the draft.
I'm going to jump on that train as well. Though Marion Hampton going to the Chargers, people are hating on that pick.
I
like that pick.
People hate that pick. I think it's a wonderful pick. Omarion to the Chargers, it fits the scheme
so
well.
With J.K. Dobbins' injury issues, I think Omarion Hampton is a very good pick. Were there other ways they could have gone? Yes, but Omarion Hampton is an outstanding running back. And one thing that we actually really need to talk about that we haven't talked about, I don't know how we talked about Shedeur before we talked about this guy, because this guy actually got picked. The Jacksonville Jaguars trading. Man, they traded a lot to go from 5 to 2 to pick Travis Hunter, the Heisman winner. This, I think, to me, was the big shock of the draft. Mm-hmm. This, I did not see the Jaguars trading up to 2 to take Travis Hunter. How do y'all feel about this pick? And who do you think won this trade?
Ooh.
Because I know it's going to take a while before we can really get an answer to that question. But just look at what the Jaguars gave the Browns in order to take Travis Hunter.
I mean, Cleveland received the number 5 pick, a second-round pick, a fourth-round pick, a 2026 pick from the Jaguars, and then the Jaguars get
2026 first-round pick.
Yeah, sorry, I misread that.
You're good.
And then a number 2 pick, a fourth-round choice, and a 6th-round selection.
That is a metric butt ton of draft capital.
Mm-hmm.
You trade up, right, to get that's a generational.
This is a generational talent, which is a very good point.
That is a generational talent that the Jaguars just went up there and got, and he, I think, is going to pair up perfectly. See, there was other people that were saying as well that Hunter was going to drop to 5 and go to Jacksonville. So Jacksonville wanted to make sure they got their guy, and you do not want to mess around when you have, again, the guy of this kind of generational talent.
Exactly.
If this doesn't pan out,
which would be,
no matter how much they gave up, people are going to be like, that made sense, even if it does not work out, because you go after a guy like that.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at John Gruden, actually, who was on Barstool, what they called it the NFL draft, but they spelled it funny. It was pretty funny. But he said that this was the greatest trade of all time for the Browns. He said that the Browns
are
blew
smart.
This trade out of the water, which I think this was an outstanding trade on both ends, especially, I mean, I would say, Travis Hunter, if that works out, that is just an insane.
Yeah.
I mean, he's an insane talent. He can play both sides of the ball. I personally see him playing defense.
I think so, defense.
Over
That's what I was saying
offense.
last night.
I'm not sure he can do both. But I did hear a stat where they said, think about it this way. He was playing an average of 160 snaps a game at the college level. The NFL average is 120. So that's a significant amount of snaps taken off, which means maybe this guy can play both sides of the ball at the NFL.
But we know the one thing. Hey, rookie, welcome to the NFL.
Yeah, he's gonna have a welcome to the NFL moment.
He's gonna have his rough moments. So Browns won that trade, and
already.
I'm talking about just as of the swap.
As of the
swap,
well,
yeah,
they got a lot
because Duval wants their guy.
Oh.
But yeah, and then I mean, it was one heck of a draft, man, and just to see, I mean, shoot, at the very end with Malachi Starks going to the Ravens, Jason, I know you were talking about that before the show. You were hyped about it, but man, they add on to that defense and just to build them that Raven, they build that monster over there in a Raven.
Dude, that is a great
Mhm.
great pick for the Ravens. The Ravens are one of those teams, man. I mean, they've been consistently good for just about as long as I can remember, and this is
Absolutely.
the reason why.
Yeah.
Like
we were just saying, they got Lamar Jackson
At
with
32.
32 picks. So, a guy won a Heisman.
Yeah.
Yeah, Heisman getting drafted 32nd that low. We saw Heisman 1 and 2 get drafted within the first 5 picks, and it's typically what you see in the draft. Getting Lamar is insane. I love the Ravens pick. That might be one of my favorite of the day, for real.
Yeah, and one thing I want to shout out, because I don't know how we haven't talked about just the number 1 pick in general, Cam Ward. He is the first 0-star recruit out of high school to be the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So, I mean, that's an accomplishment.
What an
there.
accomplishment.
I had 0 stars out of high school, and I'm not the number 1 pick in the NFL draft. So, yeah, just great stuff from Cam Ward. It was an outstanding draft. Great first round. Excited to see where people go in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and beyond. But that's all the time we got today on Triple Threat. Now, next week, y'all have to tune in. Next week is going to be
one of the rough
the
and tough
last
weeks
ever Triple Threat. Next Friday at 11. Please tune in and watch. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have just a great time, and we're super excited for it. And it's been great. This show's been great for us. It's been great to us. But with that said, y'all, go have a great weekend. Go have fun. Watch some baseball. Watch some West Georgia baseball on ESPN Plus.
Heck, maybe look at the draft while just hold on your phone.
Yeah, watch the
NHL
draft.
playoffs.
NHL playoffs. It's going to be a great weekend. So stay safe, everybody, and have a great weekend.